gonna try not to get a strike. Y'all are in my kitchen. Look, I'm about to see how much of a mess it looks like. Like I should have done this before I hit live, but it's fine. It looks lived in. So I decided, I guess I should give this a title. Even if I can't figure it out right now, I'm going to do it later. But this is going to be being a vintage girly in this economy, part 2. So I've just been like so worried. I'm making my dinner. I'm literally only eating string beans for dinner because that's all I have right now. I mean, I have a few. Yeah, that's all I have right now. So I've just been sitting here, just like I gotta record it. I gotta record it. I can't figure out, what I'm gonna talk about. Like I know what I want to talk about. Hold on. I know what it is that I want to tell y'all. Gonna see my white refrigerator, honey. Ugh. I'm just like, I know the things that I want to share, but I haven't had a moment to just sit down and do it. Okay, let me put this in my window. There we go. Oof. Oof. Y'all seeing everything. I don't need y'all to see everything, including my white refrigerator, my body. Anyway. This is me in my natural state. So, wipe my hands again. So yeah, I've just been sitting here just like, I gotta record it. I gotta record it. I gotta get it done. And have been anxious and having imposter syndrome about it. Just like, I don't know. So I wanted to talk about the things that I purchased a couple of weeks ago, from the last episode that I did. And the main thing is I bought a dehydrator machine. So I called myself trying to be a vegetarian, making the decision to do that. And it has nothing to do with like the being vintage inspired or anything like that. This was more of like a health thing that I was trying, because I've just been having a lot of issues with my different issues going on. And I'm just like, you know what? It's so funny. I'm trying to like talk about, living a vintage inspired life, and I know a core thing about my family, particularly my maternal side. They were country, so back in those days, especially when my grandma was growing up, and my grandma grew up in the 50s. So in those days, when you were poor, you ate what you ate. Sometimes you had veggies and you had plenty of meat. Meat was usually something that you ran over. And so I was just thinking, I was like, dang, I was so excited to like start posting like recipes that I wanted to share and everything. And now I'm not even going to be eating half the stuff that I would have shared with you guys for AGM Media. But well, I'm pescatarian now. I had sushi today. I was like, I need some salmon. I need something. I need some fish. I got tuna sushi. But anyway, so I made the decision. I'm gonna like try a healthier lifestyle. And one of the things that I've really, and this is something that I wanted to do for a long time. I wanted a dehydrator machine for a while because I wanted to start drying my own herbs actually, and I more so wanted to do that for spiritual purposes, things that I could have for myself. But I thought, you know what? Let me go ahead and do more. I kind of got this inkling, this voice saying like, try making your own spices with it. You can make spices with that machine. So finally bought one last week or week before last, I guess. And a big thing about living a vintage life for me, and I talked about it a lot in the last episode, and it is in the 5-figure vintage guide as well. If you have not downloaded that, go to AGM Media Patreon. The link is going to be in the description. Please go and download that. But for me, one of the cornerstones of living a vintage inspired life is being resourceful. So I've made the decision to use my machine to make my own spices, make my own dried foods, like making apple chips and sweet potato chips and all that stuff. And the spices are a big thing for me because I want to, you want to, like, in this time, in this day and age, you kind of want to, like, we're moving it towards being a society where we want to be healthier and buy more organic, more natural products, less processed products. But that stuff is expensive. So, for me, this is my way of, like, the thing that I'm going to keep in mind as I'm working on my health. I also want to share the journey with you guys because I'm imagining, I come from a family of people, country people, like I said, Virginia, born and raised. My great grandpa, my mom's maternal grandpa, made everything with his hands. He gardened. He died like a decade before I was born, but he gardened. He built things. I believe, I don't know if I'm remembering this correctly, but he helped to build the foundation for one of the highways in my hometown. And he was just really good with his hands. So I imagine, hopefully he's looking down and he's just like, look at you, like you making spices, you making your own spices, you not going to the store and buying them. Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Last episode I talked about, just so you guys know, I jump back and forth between subjects a lot. I'm sorry if it's a lot, but I just, last week I talked about how, like, my kitchen is inspired by, like, my older relatives. I just take the decor. The decor is, like, inspired by people whose homes I used to go to, and I think the methods that I'm taking in preparing my own food and preparing even the smallest things like condiments and spices and everything, it's something that I hope, like I said, my great grandpa kind of looks down on and is just like, I like that. I'm here for this. Well, I know he's probably not saying I'm here for this, but just like, that's good. That's a good move. That's a good thing. So this week's episode is about being resourceful. So in addition to just having this machine and having all these ideas of things that I want to make with it, I'm also making sure that I utilize things that I already have at home. So I did go and buy a few things, but I started making my own onion powder. The thing is, I bought a few onions and I knew that I know that I'm not going to use them all, but I don't want to throw them away, of course. And that's usually something that happens a lot. I'll throw away, like, onions because I'll buy like 2 or 3 of them and I'll only end up using like 1 and things like that. So I was like, okay, I got these onions. Instead of throwing them away, let me make onion powder. I've got this garlic. Usually I use all of my garlic. I buy like the bag of cloves. I usually use all of them because I love garlic. But just in case, I'm like, okay, I can dry some garlic and make some garlic powder. So my plan is all the spices that I have, most of the ones that I have are great value. My plan is to give away or do something with the great value ones and keep all of my organic ones because I paid like a lot of money for those. Keep all of those, but throw away or give away the cheaper ones and replace them with things that I make. So I'm going to replace my garlic powder, my onion powder, using stuff that I have at home. So I have onions, I have plenty of garlic. I buy herbs from time to time. So another thing, what I've done so far, I pretty much kind of tested out the machine, and I'll show you guys. I'll post a picture on Patreon or something like that. So I started putting mushrooms in my smoothies because, like, pre-dried mushrooms, Kroger sells dried oyster mushrooms. So I started putting mushrooms in my smoothies because I heard that mushrooms are good for brain health and mind health and things like that. So I just to test it out, I bought some because you can see how little is in here. I just got some regular baby Bella mushrooms. I actually bought those mushrooms for some pasta, and I used what I had left to dry. I dried them out, and I made these. And I made this. So these are mushrooms. I haven't decided if I want to make this all Baby Bella or if I want to go ahead and do a mix of different mushrooms for one container, because the mushrooms have different tastes. I made the mistake one time of making pasta and putting like a medley of mushrooms inside of it, and it was not good. I was like, oh, these actually have different tastes to them. And then turmeric. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I've been saying turmeric all my life, and then I finally like paid attention to the spelling, and I was like, oh, there's an R in here. So so to kind of have an idea of how it works and what I should and shouldn't do, I did try to dry out some onions, and it was taking a very long time for them to dry. And I know it's going to take probably like 6 to 8 hours to dry them, but I made the mistake of not cutting them, not slicing them. I diced them. I diced them kind of big, and I placed them on there, and I noticed that the edges were drying up, but the actual body, the bigger pieces of the onions, were not drying up. So I know next time I just threw them in some pasta. I was like, you know what, enough of that. But I know next time to make sure that I slice them instead of dice them. And I also started drying some lemon peels as well. I had to put them back to the side because I wasn't able to finish them. So yeah, so that's my plan. That's one way to be a vintage inspired person or live a vintage inspired life. Like I say all the time, you don't have to break the bank. You don't have to you don't always have to buy the most expensive appliances, or you don't have to go on eBay or go to a thrift store and buy that refrigerator from 1961 or whatever the case is. And unless you want to, it's up to you. But little things you can do. There are little things that you can do to kind of honor the past and bring that past into your life. So of course I'm using a dehydrator machine. Back in the day, people who dehydrated veggies and meat and fruit and everything, I'm sure they use something less sophisticated. But I'm mixing 21st century and classic stuff. So yeah, like I said, being resourceful, I literally have a strainer in front of me, and I'm just like slowly pouring water out of this, and I have my colander like right here. But yeah, so back to being vegetarian. So I am going to see if I can check out some old recipe books or cookbooks and just like check out the vegetarian or pescatarian, because I was just like, nah, this is not going to work for me. Try out some pescatarian recipes. In addition to that, like I said, being resourceful, another thing that I've done, or that I did when I made the decision to be a vegetarian, was I made my own veggie broth for the first time, and it was pretty decent. I mean, it's the easiest thing, one of the easiest things in the world to make, and I made mine in a crock pot. So I made that, and I shared the recipe. It is going to post on Patreon, and if you're subscribed to the Tea Room tier, you'll have access to it. But it'll be on that tier. So yeah, I put the recipe on there. Oops. Okay, so I use that. It's gonna post in September, just before fall, super fall warmth and everything. So I have a container that I use for some turnip greens. Turnip greens are my favorite greens, and the other container is in the freezer. So I'm going to, and I still have the veggies that I use. They're in the freezer as well. So I'm going to make some more broth. And now that I'm pescatarian again, I think I'm going to make some seafood stock or something. Yeah, some seafood stock broth or whatever. I haven't decided yet. I guess it's more so broth because there's not really bone in seafood. Most seafood. But yeah, so I made that broth, put it in some turnip greens, and like I said, my goal going forward is just remembering, keeping in mind, being resourceful. Okay, what do I have with me right now? When my great grandparents were like feeding their families, my grandma, my maternal grandma is one of 19 children. And my paternal grandma was one of 4 children. But both sides were country. Both sides very Virginia rooted. What would they have done? They wouldn't have like bought stuff like I do and then just thrown it away and not do anything. My grandma doesn't even do that. This I don't have to go back into the 1920s, 1930s. My grandma today, all her life, she saves stuff. Like I will say that one thing. I try not to be a back in the day type of person. They don't do it like they used to type of person. But I will say, back in the day when things were scarce, people were not wasting food. They were not wasting their money. So I'm just always constantly thinking, what can I do now? What do I have right now? How can I take what I have and make it grow? Instead of knowing full well that these onions are probably going to go bad. This garlic is probably, not the garlic, because like I said, I use garlic. I use onions too, but knowing these apples are going to go bad, what can I do to prevent that from happening? And, what would my Grandma Judy have done? What would Big Mama have done? What would Papa Merlis have done? And Papa Silas? What would they have done? They would have found a use for all this stuff. They would have, you'll have a turkey for Thanksgiving, and then you'll have turkey sandwiches the next day, and then you'll have giblets the week after that. But, yeah. I think I've kind of beat the dead horse. That's what's going on. That's what's been going on since the last episode. Being resourceful, making use of the things that I have, and also honoring my ancestors in that way. Remembering them, thinking about, and not even just my own ancestors. Like I said, I'm going to be referring to some old cookbooks that I found online and recipes, and of course I'll be sharing that with you guys. What else? So my kitchen, I did buy something for my wall in my dining space. I was about to say dining room, like I live in a house. But last episode, when y'all saw me recording, I was sitting in front of a blank wall. So I did buy a piece of, I'll show you guys. I'm sitting here just like so scared to show y'all my kitchen because it is not looking cute right now. So something cute. Got this from Dollar Tree, $1.25. I got the little suction hook. I didn't, do too much. Something cute, something somewhat vintage looking. It still looks very modern in terms of the font and the text and everything. But yeah, so one day out when my kitchen looks a little nicer, I will give you all like a kitchen tour. And the reason I'm going to do that is because my kitchen is my favorite place to be. It is so funny hearing myself say that because if you, like I said last episode, if you would have told preteen Adria that she was going to enjoy cooking, enjoy learning how to cook, she would have been like, no. But anyway, I'm not going to hold you guys. I'm going to give a quick shout out to Roxy Talks. I'm going to leave a link to her page in the description, and the Big Beautiful Dreams Club, Big Beautiful Dreams Club. I was literally in a Q&A with that club, and it is a subscription, and I kept feeling like it was probably anxiety more so, and I kept feeling I kept feeling the looming anxiety of me not doing something that I was supposed to do. Like, I'm supposed to be recording this. And then I kept hearing and feeling, just go live, just go live, just go live. And I think it's more authentic for me to do this. I don't have to think about what I'm going to say. I am thinking about what I'm saying, but I don't have to like think too hard and edit. I can just be my natural self. I can be authentic and honest. I can show you guys that I don't always have my 1940s wig on, I don't always have my Rita Hayworth wig on and my wrap dresses. I'm coming in from work. This is how I wear my hair at work. This is my dress. I didn't have to throw a bra on before I started recording because I took that off as soon as I got in the house, sweetie. As soon as I got in the house, bra was gone, earrings were gone. Thankfully, I didn't tie my hair up yet. But I was just like, you know what? Just do it. Just go for it. So, episode 2 of being a vintage girly in this economy. This is it. So, this is going to be up until October 24th. Today's the 24th. So, I will see y'all in 2 weeks or in 2 Fridays. Thank y'all so much for stopping by. Now I gotta figure out how to get out of here. Of course, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. How do I leave? How do I leave?